Just try not to curse. And then try not to curse, keep it
I was just going to ask you.
relatively clean. I mean, well, I just try to keep it appropriate. But is this, where, should I not sit in this chair?
Sit wherever you want.
Okay, I'm going to sit here. What was that? Yeah. Yeah, Jim and Robert are going to speak with me in the beginning.
Later,
The days become shorter. Time slips beneath my feet, and suddenly I'm older and I lost what's important.
What I have here too. I'm not going to put it off to the side. It's afternoon
Well,
cocktail.
there is a day I won't have to explain. I gotta do what's right for me, 'cause there are no guarantees in life, it seems. And there's no time left to waste.
Thanks.
Side by side, but I skip along. The checker tiles of supermarket aisles, because they make me feel normal.
I think it makes it taste.
I thought people would tell us
Oh, they make me feel normal.
well, whatever. I don't know.
And their eyes, they fill it with a curiosity. They're trying to understand me, but I don't understand me. I'm lost within my dreams. Will there ever come a day I won't have to explain? I gotta do what's right for me, 'cause there are no guarantees in life, it seems. And there's no time left to waste. They are horizontal, side by side, but I skip along.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning into episode 3 of
Supermarket
Afternoon Cocktail. Today's episode's theme is Inspire. Today I brought a few guests of mine, some very good friends, to kind of speak about their professions and their impact in the community. And I'll introduce you to my roundtable people right here. We have Robert Blackburn. He's owner of Black Dog Recording Studio. I have Jim Greco, who is an artist, poet, and phenomenon in my eyes. He's a musician. And also, you'll meet Heather Irwin, who is our artist for the day. Right now, she's currently working on our blank canvas for our Color My Canvas segment, which each artist that's invited on the show makes their contribution to our canvas based off of the show's theme. And in the end, when our canvas is filled up, when the whole canvas is complete, we're going to donate it as a community piece to a charity of your pick. And that is it. John Hutchins is coming on today as well. He's an East End Festival organizer as well as Downtown Fitness Club's owner. So we will be talking to him for our business portion as well. So for a round table, you've met Jim Greco, Robert Blackburn. What could you guys tell me? I know all about both of you, but how would you, Robert, you start. How would you explain, tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
I'm the owner of Black Dog Recording Studios and Black Dog Media Group downtown at East Avenue. And we're a multimedia workhouse. Everything from recording bands to hosting shows and creating performers. That's what we do. And do a lot of working with the Eastman School of Music and the students there, helping them document and build their resumes as musicians, professional musicians, and have a lot of fun with some groups that are from there as well.
Fantastic. Jim Greco?
Yeah, I've been a musician, poet, artist my whole life. That's what I do. And I build and repair guitars. Used to work on Robert's guitars. And I've just done that my whole life. I've spent most of my career around New York City. I was in Nashville for a couple of years, Los Angeles, did a lot of road work, and came back here after my second son was born in Nashville. And I just keep pursuing what I do.
Fantastic. Now, the three of us have had opportunity to work together in the community and became friends beyond that, which is a blessing. But I think all of us, I've invited the two of them here today because I think both of them have a lot to share in regards to our community and in regards to what the word inspire means, which is today's theme. In case you haven't already picked up, for anybody who has been kind of tuning in for the past few episodes, this is our third one. But each show is themed off of a positive term, which I think can be described in various ways depending upon each person's experiences and professions. So it means something different to everybody, but my question is always in the beginning, I like to see how that applies to the community and in regards to what you've done in the past.
I think the inspiring, if that's the theme of today, is about making a difference in other people's lives. And 100 years from now, no one will care what kind of clothes we wore, what kind of cars we drove. But the one thing that will matter is how you've made and inspired young people around you. And because they will go on, and what is left of you when you're gone is what they remember of you. And that's about it. So I think that's how I look at inspire. Is that on the right road here to what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think that's great.
And so those are my thoughts on inspired. I know that I do a lot of reading, and that's what inspires me, and turns that around into everyday tools in both communication and working with others, is feeding off the inspiration of greater people than myself, and then turning around and sharing that information with somebody who may never read that. So anyway.
Well put, Robert. Well put.
Inspired. There you go.
Jim, what does inspiration mean to you?
Well, I think I do what I do because I do it. And when I say what inspires me to do what I do, we've talked about this a little bit before. I think part of it is the fact that it's part of your wiring.
Yeah.
There are some people who they'll paint, and because they like to paint. And that's a good thing. You don't want to take that out of anybody's life. Mm-hmm. But there's that other spot where you say, I need to paint, or I need to write, or I need to play. I need to put all this down, but I also need to get it out. And there's that something else that's inside of you that makes you want you to get it out, as opposed to this is what I simply enjoy in my life. I think that inspiration just has to do with who we are. I can talk about inspiration in terms of, for this particular thing, this is what inspired me. But in general, as the art goes, I think it's a question of we're there. And we need to do that. And I think that how we inspire other people is by being sincere in our endeavor and sharing that with people. Like when young people go to play, I want to write, I encourage that.
Right.
As opposed to saying, well, don't do that and don't do this. You can give them advice about what to do. So I think what you can do to inspire is to say, this is who I am, and you can do this as well. And be true to that. And I look at inspiration that way.
When you say the need to get it out, because this is... just you saying that is interesting to me, because somebody asked me this, people ask me all the time, Amanda, what are you trying to do with your life? What do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up, And for me, I just think, I'm just trying to push all my limitations. I want to know, what I can't do, really, and that's my challenge in life. But, somebody was asking me about being an artist and being a songwriter, and it's well, why can't you just write songs and not share it with people? Or why do you feel that need to get it out? Robert, you're a songwriter too, why do you think us as artists, I know we all have that in common, we all perform. Why do you think we need to get that out?
Well, I think it's part of evolution, because it's what we were called to do, those of us who do it, and so we're just that next step in making noise, and when our noise is done, then somebody else will pick up the torch and carry on with more noise in a new way, in a new style, and that's just it. That's the whole part of why we do it. We're just a part of we're here visiting on this earth, So enjoy the. Making money is cool, but really living life is even better. So.
Yeah,
I think it goes back to your wiring. I just think that some of us, that's where we're at. Somebody just. I said something to someone the other day, and they go, "Wow, I really like that." Mm-hmm. Now somebody's who writes or whatever is going, you know what? I'm going to use that. I like that. Why does that person do it? And the other person just says, "Gee, I really like that." He may use it when he speaks, but what is it about that person that says, I'm going to use that. I'm going to put it in a song. I'm going to put it in a poem.
Yeah.
I just think it has to do with wiring. The fact that we just happen to be in a particular place, which is not better than somebody else or worse than anybody else, just we happen to be there. And we have that particular need to do those kinds of things, regardless of recognition, financially, emotionally, whatever, because it's just what we have to do. I mean, my success has been that I've been able to do that my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, void of a lot of money, you know, void of fame. It doesn't. And the thing is, you pull yourself out of that. You simply do it because that's what we do.
I think, you know, for me personally, it's, you know, getting on stage is just a completely different feeling. Like, I know when I write my songs, like I write it from my heart, and I try not to, that's my time to be selfish and to, you know, write what I feel and not have to think about anybody else's feelings or what. Like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm writing. You know,
Make your noise.
getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I make my noise. That's how I clear my noise from my head.
Right, yeah.
But I think, you know, stepping on stage, I think there's that feeling of maybe, I mean, for me, I think it's, even though those are my experiences, for somebody else, like somebody wrote to me recently on Facebook message and said, you know, this song on your album, like, really meant a lot to me. Like, and I don't even know if she got what I got out of it. Probably didn't, you know, interpreted in her way. But the fact that that even caused an emotion for her, or, you know, for her to like write and tell me that, you know, hey, this song, you know, really means a lot to me too.
That's what you live for.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to have done that had I not stepped on stage or, you know, put myself out there. So I guess maybe that's it. Just one more question. What do you believe the link between inspiration and creativity is?
I get that. For me, it's to a specific piece as far as inspiration and creativity. I mean, I think thinking once again, we create, and the inspiration comes from where? To create. I really don't know, because I've always just been there, you know. But I can say once again, like which I said before, here's a particular thing, and I know I was inspired to do that particular thing for this. Okay, so if you're talking about, you know, a specific creation, my book or a painting or something that I write, every once in a while, yes, something can, you know, just click in your mind. You say, oh, that sounds really good. I'm going to write that down. And from there, you write something. But there are times when I'm painting where I just have this general idea, I put it down, and then as you paint, you know, it starts to become. And it's always becoming. There's a gentleman I know who says, nothing just is, it's always becoming. You know, and that's just like a spontaneous inspiration. And it's going as you keep creating, you continue to get more and more inspired. It's like when you started, like, you wrote this song, it just came out.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes the fact that it's starting to work inspires you to keep working on it.
Totally.
And so it's,
yeah.
I'm not sure if you can really, like, say, this is inspiration and does this to creativity. It sort of gets intertwined, and it's sort of, I think it works that way. What do you think, Robert?
What was the question again? What was the inspiration and creativity?
Yeah, what's the link between the two of them to you?
It's having pleasure to wake up and do exactly what you wanted to do for a living. That means that you're inspired to do it, and that you wake up and do it means that you are creating. Whether you're creating an income for your children, or creating music, or creating something. You're creating, you know, and that's it. I guess it's just, you know, we all do it.
Yeah.
And we all choose to do it. I shouldn't say we all choose to do it. We all
do.
have the choice to do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of making that decision and putting forth the effort and becoming a part of the evolutionary process, you know. And that's a part of what we're doing downtown, you know, with just opening the doors of the studio.
Yeah.
Where we might as well be shut down for the week, right?
Yep.
And because of the Jazz Fest, but instead, Amanda and I said, let's just throw in the towel and we'll just have a party the whole week. And I think we're having 27 bands, right?
25 people, yes. I did want to talk about that. I wanted to say, Robert and I have been working on a little project called Black Dog Strip for the past, I don't know, how long has it been? Since December.
All right, 10 months, I'll take that.
Yeah, 8 to 10 months, we'll say.
Oh, it's been 8
More?
to 10 months, yeah.
Well, we've been working on this. It's a singer-songwriter showcase, and the great thing about Robert's studio, if you haven't been there, it's on East Avenue, right off of Swan Street, next to Victoire and across from the parking garage. He has a beautiful studio, which just was very nicely renovated as well. Because of a tragedy.
Right.
Unfortunately, there was quite a bad flooding, but the studio is better than ever, and it's very intimate, and that's the one thing that drew me to you. Actually, the tables were reversed. Robert had interviewed me for
A little show we were developing.
a show that they were developing at the time, and that's how I came in. I was like, wow, this studio is great. You know, it just had that intimate environment, and it had a killer piano, so I'm a little biased.
And it has Robert.
And it has Robert. You know, exactly. So we ended up putting together a show that's, you know, with the concept in mind that outside of a bar, provide an intimate atmosphere for singer-songwriters to be heard and
Play music.
To play music that they enjoy, and
Outside of the tinkling and the drinking and
the chaos.
and the chaos and the chatter and the falling over and,
Yes.
and all that stuff that goes with a bar. So
But that could be very inspiring.
But that can be inspiring too. And I was inspired by that from my 20s and my 30s when I was a performer during that time. But it got to be where being a musical therapist and somebody watching out for people all the time became very stressful. So because you're always watching out for your friends, so you were loading them full of drinks to make the bartender happy, so that you could get lots of money. So it kind of became an evil triangle there. So so that's why I retreated to the basements many years ago.
I hear it. Well, we're taking, we basically just put Black Dog Strip on steroids, and we're doing a whole week's long
Performances.
a whole week's worth of really fantastic performances. We got 25 bands. Well, some are bands, some are just singer-songwriters, but it's acoustic
Just live
style.
music.
Live music. It's live recorded.
It's
open to the
recorded
public.
and videotaped and given to the performers. And
It's
just
during what time?
during 4 p.m. till whenever on Friday the 20th through the Saturday the 28th. And our doors will be open. There's a $5 donation to help us with the flood and to help to cover the expenses of the week. But the bands have all chipped in to help make it a very special time for them as well. So, and it's all about people listening and sharing and making noise. That's what we're doing.
It's all about quality music, quality people, and quality environments to cater to all of those things.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm very much looking forward to it. So
Me
it'll be
too.
great. You should stop down if
I
you're
will.
not doing anything.
No, I will. I told Robert I will as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really great. So make sure you check that out. Black Dog Strip, Black Dog Recording Studios, Mr. Robert Blackburn, thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you so much.
And
Robert.
Jim Greco, we're going to get back to later. I know he's a great talker, but and he's great looking, great talker, both these boys. But Jim, we're going to talk about his book a little bit later on, and we're going to move to our next segment. So thank you, guys.
All right.
Very well.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
My
And,
pleasure. Thank
talk to
you.
you later. Bye.
So our next segment is called The Biz, and I have Mr. John Hutchins come in to speak about his business and his entrepreneurship. He is the owner of Downtown Fitness Club in Rochester, New York. He also is the East End Festival organizer, which is happening tomorrow, just tomorrow. And John, come on over.
Here or there.
Wherever you want.
I'm sit next to you.
I don't bite.
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background. I know you said so you're from Geneva, correct?
I lived in Geneva for 10 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I grew up out in the heart of 315 land, Montezuma.
Okay.
Have you ever driven? You've done gigs all over New York, so you've driven on the throughway. There's this swamp.
You
a
see
lot of
this
dead
guy
trees.
here, my paparazzi, my
Yeah.
hired paparazzi?
Is he from Montezuma?
No, but we went out there because that's where Aaron Winters is who I'm talking about, who you can't see. He likes to be behind the camera. But fantastic photographer and a fantastic friend of mine. He goes there and takes pictures
At the
of all the wildlife.
Refuge, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting fact, fun fact about the Montezuma Wildlife Refuge. It is not in Montezuma. It's in the town of Tyre in Seneca County. Montezuma is actually a little town in Cayuga County. That's
Okay.
where I grew up, across the Seneca River. from the swamp.
I just like saying Montezuma.
Montezuma is fun. It's tequila. It's Montezuma's Revenge, which is a gastrointestinal problem, but it has a lot of uses.
All linked to really great
Yep,
terms.
and that's where I'm from. So from there, when I got done growing up over there, I moved to Geneva to open a pizza place, and I lived there for 10 years, and then I've been here in the Rochester area, Webster, for the last 15 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, what happened with the pizza place? Was that just like something you knew, like when you...
It was an interesting story how I became a pizza place owner. It was a Domino's pizza franchise. I have a friend, I think it's my anniversary today, by the way. My wife and I have been married 22 years today, and he sent me a message, a nice one today. But anyway, this guy who was my partner, Jim Van Arsdale, he wanted to open his own franchise. We worked together in Auburn, New York at the Domino's Pizza there, and he wanted to go out on his own. Well, he needed an investor, so he said, hey, can I talk to your grandparents about loaning me money? And I said, well, I'll set it up. I don't know what'll happen. And we had him over for dinner. Me, Jim, Grandma and Grandpa sat around, listened to Jim's business plan, and when he was all done, my grandmother unceremoniously said, no, we're not interested in doing that. So we both, I didn't know what was going to happen, so Jim was kind of deflated. And she said, but I'll tell you what I will do. I will co-sign for John to borrow money to invest with you, and he'll be your partner.
It's a good mom.
So we looked at each other and we're like, shrugged our shoulders and shook hands, and we were business partners.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the business, the Domino's Pizza business. We were both 21 years old, just young guys out slinging pizzas.
So your frame of mind coming into that, how was that different from your frame of mind coming into downtown fitness?
Oh, well, I was 21, and my biggest concerns then were what time would I be out of work so I could go hang out with my friends and drink at the bar and listen to great artists like Amanda Ashley play at the bar.
What a sucker.
Yeah, well, when I was 21, I was thinking about you a lot more. But going into the Downtown Fitness Club, I was married, as I mentioned, 22 years now, and my wife and I had 5 children, which we still have at the time. We have 5 children. So I was going into it to be successful with the fitness business, to create, revenue, income to support my family. So the focus was different. Fitness is something that I've been passionate about. I like playing sports. I'm not a sports fan per se. I don't get any particular satisfaction from watching professional athletes. I'll watch it, and I like my kids to play it for the lessons that it teaches. Right. But I do like helping people achieve fitness goals, not just physical fitness goals, but all the other ancillary things that it gives to you. It gives you confidence. It gives you just stress relief. It gives you that feeling of well-being. It's a very empowering feeling. So that's the intangible part of exercise that I had experienced, and I wanted to help other people do that as well. So on the business side, I wanted to make money, where the pizza place, I just wanted to be my own boss.
Right.
And we didn't make money because we didn't really have a good plan there. Where the Downtown Fitness Club, I wanted to make money and I wanted to help people.
Were you always so fit when you were working at the pizza place? That sounds like a...
It's kind of an oxymoron a little bit there. I was, actually.
Yeah.
Ironically, I was 21 years old. So, you're in the best shape.
Metabolism.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot different.
Pizza is actually if you're going to eat a fast food, pizza is the best fast food to eat. It has all the four food groups.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself because I'm addicted. So I love pizza.
But it also has the bad four, like salt, grease.
Yeah.
But
fuck your mind from that.
But being 21, I could process that food. My body worked. And ironically, I was telling the story the other day. I had a choice to make. My buddies wanted to go to Virginia Beach for the week, and I had to either go on vacation with them or pay my rent. I decided to go on vacation, and I moved out of my apartment and lived in the back room of Domino's Pizza for 3 months. And I was a member at the YMCA, so I could take showers, and I worked out twice a day because, I had to go and take showers twice a day.
Yeah.
Pizza gets you sweaty. So those factors combined, I was in the best shape of my life.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so have I always been fit? Yeah, I chose my parents well. I have good genetics.
Now, I think, with today's theme in mind, I think inspiration means a lot to somebody who's trying to get in shape.
Sure. Absolutely.
And, even with what you're saying, because that's inspiration on a different level, and that's kind of like what I'm going for today, because I'm not really too much of a fitness buff. I would love to be.
You look like you're pretty fit.
But, yeah, well,
you got to squeeze it in sometimes.
I
right?
squeeze it in with my loading and my breakdown of my equipment.
and that stuff is heavy.
Yeah, oh my goodness, you have no idea. Like, people gasp when I'm, like, lifting speakers, but they're, like, 60-pound speakers. I mean, all this stuff does, and I do it I have the Mariah Carey workout, so I'll do it in heels.
Very cool.
But no, it's not.
I'd like to
not
see
a way
that.
to advocate
I'd like to see that sometime.
physical fitness by any means, but,
Right.
Anyway, I mean, how do you motivate somebody to continue pushing? Like, there's got to be points where people are, a little down on themselves, or they might not be seeing results.
Right.
I've been there, and I'm like, man, I'm working so hard, and my sister says this. She's like, I starved myself for a week, and I only lost 1 pound. So, what do you do?
You're hitting on a lot of points. First of all, motivation. Motivation's an internal mechanism. I can't motivate you. But I like the theme of your show today, because inspiring people is how you help them find their motivation.
Yeah.
Because they have to find something that resonates with them, that just kind of lights that spark and gives them, just enough to get to that next workout. Sometimes it's workout by workout. I like to encourage people, find what inspires you, set a goal, make a plan, and then execute that plan. Take the emotion out after you find your inspiration. I think a lot of people start with the plan, don't have the inspiration, and when they hit their first obstacle, your sister doesn't lose a pound in a week. That's an obstacle mentally. Just an FYI, we shouldn't measure fitness that way. But a lot of people do, and they get discouraged and they quit. So inspiration, it's very important to the whole motivation process. It's not the same thing, I don't think. Inspiration is, I have found inspiration in workouts when I've had an ailing grandparent. And I say, the power or the energy that I put into this workout is that I'm transferring that to that grandmother. I want to will her to, you just find little things that help you get to the next point of your workout, or the next workout, or the next day, or the next week. So I guess I would sum that all up by just saying, find what inspires you.
Yeah.
You don't have to look far these days. Go on your Facebook feed. People post pictures all the time, memes out there that are fitness inspiration.
There's always a lot of inspirational quotes.
Yeah,
and
Instagram.
Stuff.
With our social media network that we have access to today, you don't have to look far.
Yep.
You just got to look with the
Pinterest is
right attitude. You got to look to be inspired, because you can be discouraged too. You could say, "Oh, I could never look like that," whereas another person looks at the same picture and says, "I want to look like that, and I'm willing to do the extra work to get there." Yeah. So, we have some interesting programming, a lot of kind of dialogue during workouts meant to motivate people. But I've actually tried to motivate people and had them come to me and say, "You didn't motivate me." And I go, "Well, my intention was to motivate you, and I apologize. But at the end of the day, you motivate you."
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, it's a complex thing, and people do struggle with it, but that's what makes the business so interesting. Just trying to find a way. And I heard you ask the last guest about how does that connect to creativity. At the root of all of my businesses, I'm a salesperson. I believe we're all salespeople. We're selling something. We've got to get a customer to buy a product, whatever that is, or service. I think creativity is the number one characteristic that a person has to be good at, or have to be good at sales.
Selling. Yeah,
because
that's very true.
Selling is problem solving. You come to me with a problem, I can't be motivated with fitness. I've got to then use my creativity to help inspire you to find your motivation to do it. And that's what I love about the fitness business.
Challenges you?
Yeah, it does. It really it engages my mind as much as anything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Cool. Now, okay, so that's two parts of you.
Yes.
East End Festival is
Yes.
a huge, for anybody who might be tuning in outside of Rochester. If you're in Rochester, all I have to say is East End. But
Yeah.
this tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's
Yep, tomorrow, Friday, 5 o'clock, we shut down the streets, put up some gates, start charging people $5 to come out into their neighborhood, which has been controversial over the years. It used to be 3 nights a summer, now it's 1. The city passed
shame.
they passed an ordinance last year at the encouragement of some of the neighbors in the East End. The East End has changed a lot in the 24 years that we've had the festival. The city, any city, for vibrancy needs a residential component. With the residential component comes concerns, noise. I heard Robert mention that.
Yeah.
We're down in the same neighborhood. And, people get out of the bars at 2 or 3 in the morning. They don't think anything about yelling and carrying on, but there's someone trying to sleep over there. So I understand their side of it, but it is an economic engine. It does bring people down into that. It's helped create and build the East End. So it was a very complex issue. The resolution was, hey, let's cut it down to 1. The city passed their ordinances. You can't charge to be on city streets, and then made an amendment where you could do it once a year. So that's how we got our festival.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we're going to shut down the streets at 5 o'clock, and we're going to put up 4 stages. We're going to have 12 bands, and we're going to do what we've been doing for 24 years. Stand in the street, have maybe an adult beverage.
Maybe.
This is the cocktail. What is the name? How
Afternoon cocktail.
Afternoon cocktail.
We're not
We're
shy
going to
about
take
cocktails.
afternoon cocktail right into the evening.
There you go.
But there's
Sounds
nothing
great.
better than a great night in the East End, standing out there listening to live music with your friends you haven't seen probably in years or a year, and
So how,
catching
like,
up.
what made you do that? Like, did you grab like a group where a bunch of you and your guy friends having a beer and like, hey, let's start an awesome festival for the community? Or was it just like something that brewed for a while? And
I was still slinging pizzas in 1990 in Geneva when this started, so I wasn't at the outset of the East End Festival. Ironically, the city who kind of reeled it in started the East End Festival in 1990 with an economic development grant.
Okay.
They said, hey, let's get people to come down here and have this festival. So the city leaders were involved. Michael O'Leary's he was the owner of Milestones.
Yep.
He now owns Temple Bar and Grill. He's been at the center of this for pretty much the whole time. So I got involved in 2007. I had opened the Downtown Fitness Club, or took over what was the Rochester Athletic Club at the end of 2004. 2005, 2006, I had a charity dunk tank. I put fit men and women in the dunk tank and charged people $5 to try to dunk them, and donated the money to charity. But just like Robert said, I saw an opportunity where people saw an annoyance. People saw maybe kind of an obstruction to their business in the neighborhood. I said, this thing's going to go on. People want it. 10,000 people come down here. How can I harness this to get some good out of it? So I worked with Michael O'Leary to start organizing the festival. And then over the past 7 years, I've become the main organizer. The city recognizes me, gives me the permits. I do still work with Michael on the music, and of course he's a bar owner, so he pours the beer, and we've just kept the party going.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, like, describe how you felt like going through all these battles. Like, I mean, that had to be like so disheartening for you. Like.
Yeah, disheartening. Anyone that knows me knows that disheartening probably isn't a word that is associated with me. I push forward.
Yeah.
I ruffle some feathers once in a while. Annoying would be a word that I would use. There was a lot of personal resources that I used to keep this festival going. Some for the economic motivation, what it meant to me in my business. Some for the principle. I'm a very principled person, and I didn't think it was right for these few people that were inconvenienced to just take the whole thing away that benefited so many other people. It benefits.
It does, yeah.
The
The
bar
music
owners,
community,
the
yeah.
restaurants. There's ancillary benefits. I've had people join my club because they've heard about it through the East End Festival. They come down and we harness that and advertise it. So I fought hard on principle. Disheartened? No. Annoyed? Yes, sometimes. Sometimes I acted in ways that, well, there's still some collateral damage from that, but I think my intention, I'm a well-intentioned person. Anyone that knows me knows that my principles are important to me, and hopefully they respect that. So the bottom line is the party still is going on, whether it be on principle or if you're just the guy or girl that wants to come down and have a beer in the street and you don't care about any of the politics of it, it's there to do what you want with it, and it's a good thing.
Yeah. I remember, like, when I heard that, I think I saw it on Rochester Band Insider, you know, which is, Brian Udicci was on our very first episode, and we were talking about that.
Yeah, Brian's helping us with the festival this year, too. He is one of our stage managers. He's,
good.
That guy, he is an opinionated guy.
Oh,
and,
yes.
He has helped us a lot. He has hurt us in some ways with his opinions, but all in all, you know, I love the fact that it is an event that brings together all those different factions, and for one night, for 6 hours, we just have a good time, and we put that all aside. We forget about the problems of the day, and then, you know, 11 o'clock on the nose, the street sweepers are out there picking it up. We're done by midnight, and back to business as usual.
So, like, what's your preparation work like for this? Like, how do you, right now, like, are you like, oh my God, like, I gotta get, when I'm out of this, like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Like, that's how I feel.
Well, listen, I'm going to give a shout out to Josh Reed. He actually has done some festivals on his own. He did the Indie Fest here in town. He has Flower City shows. He's currently employed, another plug, by Yellow Jacket Racing, Ellen and Boots, that own Fleet Feet Sports over there. And have you been to that new Culver Armory?
I have
Trotta's
not.
over there.
I've
Fleet Feet's in the back. Yeah, I
Many
mean, it's
times. I've
a
never
beautiful
been.
place. So
I've always wondered about it.
Plugs for all of those places.
Yeah.
But anyway, Josh helps us. He's our day of coordinator. He does a lot of work in advance. We coordinate the food trucks. We coordinate the bands, the staging, the police services, independent security services, cleanup. There's a lot to do. So what's it like? Well, we all have full-time jobs. Aside from this, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
And this week's been nuts. I mean,
So, like,
I just hustled
I
in here
believe it.
just in time for to do this.
I believe it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, once it's all over.
A decompression.
Yeah, is it like,
Yeah.
I could only imagine it's like you're like,
Yeah, we're all on like DEFCON 5 right now.
do you feel a little sad in a way too?
If
Because
a
you're like,
raindrop comes down at an ill-timed moment, it might be that one little that the whole house of cards falls down and we all have a meltdown. Do I feel sad? I never feel sad about it.
Is that
Absolutely. Am I angry sometimes? Sure. You know, it's like, why won't this thing work the way we want it? But yeah, it's a range of emotions, all mostly good.
good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that tomorrow, I hope that the weather isn't like what it is today. Well, as long as it doesn't rain.
I want it to be. Obviously, we start picking up the forecast as soon as we can. In a lot of cases, AccuWeather will give you a 30-day forecast. So we've been watching it.
Trust that? Come on.
I don't trust it 30 days out. It's been in my 8th year of doing it, it's been pretty accurate for that period of time in the 10-day range. So what they're calling for, and I was with Rachel Barnhart talking about it on Channel 8, and I hollered over to, I think it's John D. Pasquale, the weather guy. I said, good forecast tomorrow. He said, 2 o'clock, everything clears up, and we're good to go. So everything I've been seeing has been right, what they've been saying, rain, scattered showers. I'm okay with it raining today. Just 2 o'clock tomorrow,
today.
clear up, let the skies
I hope
open
it's
up.
beautiful for
the
you.
sun always shines on the East End Festival.
Yeah, well, that's true.
We've
I
had
hope
2
it's
rainouts in 8 years that I've been involved.
Do you think it really, I mean, I don't feel like that'll deteriorate anybody's spirit, though, because especially now, in a
There's
way
some
that...
troopers out there. There's some real music fans out there. And there's some real East End Festival fans. I mean, it's
That's
almost
what
like
I'm
a
saying.
cult-like following.
Yeah.
I get impassioned emails, especially when we were going through the debates. It was, people were very passionate about keeping
I
this.
kept
So
that.
I think they'll be out there. Yeah.
Well, I hope it's, maybe like that in the sense where if it does rain, that might work to your benefit now that there's only one, I would hope.
It helped last year. Last year
yeah.
was the first year we went to it, and we probably had about 13,000 people there.
Wow.
Traditionally in June we would get 11, so we got the bump from that for our one festival. Of course, we didn't get the 8 to 10 that we usually get in July and August because we didn't have them. But it was a great night. It was a
Yeah.
perfect weather night, and it was a home run. So we're hoping for a repeat performance.
Amazing. And now I know a lot of my friends are playing on this. We have Cherry Bomb.
I love
Right.
Cherry Bomb. Yeah, they're out there. They're
my
fun.
buds. Yep, Cherry Bomb, not Sublime, Subsoil.
Yes.
They're playing, who
Yep.
else? A few, Big Eye Fish.
Big Eyed Fish. We've got Northside Johnny coming this year. I think they're a new entry into it, but they've been playing the suburbs forever. I saw them at the Fairport Music Festival. They were good. Tegan and the Tweeds are going to
Yeah,
be there.
I saw that.
Who am I forgetting? Hiwa.
Oh, yep.
They're going to be there.
That's a great band.
Yeah,
There was
there's
really
a dozen
great
of them.
lineup,
And
yeah.
if I missed any, eastendmusicfestival.com.
Okay.
You can go there and get the lineup. East End Festival on Facebook. We've got, I think, 9,000 followers there. So go and get updated on what's going on.
$5 cover, you said, right?
$5 cover, 18 plus. So you 18
Okay.
to 21-year-olds, you can come pay your $5 cover. We're going to put big X's on your hand so you won't be successful at the beer trucks. But you can come down and watch your favorite bands. Over a dozen food trucks. Food trucks are the hot thing
I
now
love
with
food
their food
trucks.
truck rodeo over at the public market. We're not calling it a rodeo because we don't want to steal their thunder, but those guys are all going to be there. You can
Cool.
get that macaroni and cheese with pulled pork in it, or you can get a paleo plate, effortlessly healthy. It's going to be a fun time.
I don't doubt it. All right, so people, here's what you're going to do. Tomorrow night, you're going to go to East End Festival.
Yeah.
Where is the entrance for that?
We have 5 gates. You can enter from Gibbs Street, right there around the corner from Java's. You can come in from Broadway. A little secret. There's a lot of parking just south of the festival down there on Broadway Street where that new traffic circle went in.
Okay.
On the skating rinks down there. You can come in from Matthews, right in front of Spot Coffee, Scio Street, right by the parking garage, or you can actually come out Swan Street, which is right across from Robert's Black Dog Studios.
Yep, I was just going to say that. Right
Yeah.
by Black Dog.
Yep.
Great. So tomorrow night, make sure you check out or go to eastendmusicfestival.com, correct? You said?
EastEndMusicFestival.com, yep.
Go to eastendmusicfestival.com to find out what tomorrow's lineup is. If you like to get there at a certain time, go enjoy the entire time and
Yeah.
have fun and go say hi to our new friend John. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
What a pleasure to finally meet you.
It was great to meet you.
Yeah, and also downtownfitnessclub.com. That's his business.
Yeah, I am a gym guy.
It is summertime, and if you need some help getting into those bikinis and Speedos, this is the time
I'll
to
do what I
it.
can.
Yes, John.
You're right.
John will run you to the ground.
Yes.
So.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
All right.
We're going to take a sponsor break, and then we're going to get to Heather Irwin, who is our artist of the day.
All right. So I pop over here?
I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, nothing between me and my dream. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, nothing between me and my dream. Stand by me, we've come this far. Believe with me, I know it's hard. Life begins to slim, but 0 times at times. Battle wounds with scars to prove I won't lose. 'Cause no, I refuse something to prove. Oh, now it is my time. It's my time to shine. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, nothing between me and my dream. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, nothing between me and my dream. Now when my fate to decide if I work hard, put in the time. Lemonade, it tastes to taste so sweet, so sweet. Battle wounds with scars much to prove. I won't lose, 'cause no, I refuse. Something to prove. Oh, now it is my time. It's my time to shine. I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. Nothing between me and my dream. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. Nothing between me and my dream. I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to. Oh, I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to. Oh, I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to. Oh, I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. Nothing between me and my dream. I'm strong, I'm powerful, striving to be the best that I can be. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. Nothing between me and my dream. I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to. Oh, I can do anything. I pour my heart, I pour my mind, put my mind to.
When you guys are talking, let's rely on these cameras. And I'm sorry, rely on this camera, and then I'm going to shoot the other cameras otherwise. All right?
All right.
Keep going.
Thank you.
All right? And should be there.
So, you guys, I'm going to introduce you to Heather Irwin. She is our fine artist of the day, our fine featured artist of the day. Heather, come on over. Come talk to us. Oh, sure. So Heather brought a number of pieces with her this afternoon. Thank you. Heather brought a number of pieces with her this afternoon to share with us. And I studied her website. And this woman does not only just paintings. You're seeing paintings today. And she's working on a painting, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But she is also a sculptor, monoprints. What else?
Digital work, installations,
You went to
graphic design.
school at RIT, right?
I went to RIT, but I went to Graphic Careers first on Prince Street.
Okay, great. So, like, out of all the, I mean, she does everything. If you go to her website, there's just so much artwork. I was like, I can't even, like, process this all. Like, it's all amazing nonetheless. So, now, all right, so tell me, how do you describe your art?
Well, it really depends on what the concept is. So, I mean, I can't really... I started out as an illustrator for the paper. So, being an illustrator, you kind of have to be malleable. So, I started out with that kind of thought process. So, I would describe my art as not being easily to actually define. I don't have one particular style, so it depends on the concept or what I want to do. I mean, if it's film, it's film. If it's voiceovers and performance art, then that's what it would be.
So would you, I mean, keeping that in mind, because I don't like genres. I've never been a fan of that, you know, and I actually went to school for art at Fredonia, so I would feel that way too. Like when I would paint, I would paint multiple. I mean, I think for the most part, like I like to work with figures, but I try not to like paint any specific style unless I was assigned.
Right.
You know, but I mean, so what inspires you, like, to start? Like, what inspired you to do this one?
Okay, so this is like a whole series of. It's kind of funny. I'll put these up so that you can.
And these are acrylics, right?
This is just all acrylic.
Okay.
But what started was that my nephew, my great nephew, because I'm a great aunt, 2 generations now, took pictures at Christmas, and he took them at all the wrong angles, which I thought was hysterical, and I loved it. So Asher actually was the inspiration for the start of this, and then I started to talk to an illustrator named Jose Cruz from Dallas, who was an illustrator for the New York Times, pretty prominent, Andres Salgado, and we wanted to do, he's from Brazil, and we wanted to do a show on censorship. So I asked all my husband's family that was at that Christmas party, what word would you think of if you thought of censorship? So they all sent me different words. So it's funny, restraint, bleep, all these different words. So I started to try to incorporate those in. So if you look through the series, there's different words on different pieces. Some of them are just crazy. Limiting.
What about this means bleep?
What about this means bleep is that his face is basically censored
Stoic,
off.
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So it's but I didn't change Asher's. I mean, they're all referenced from Asher's shots. So he actually censored the people and the environments. They just didn't make any sense. So he censored all the photos for me. So so that's how I kind of brought that in. And then my sister-in-law, or not my sister-in-law, my nephew, his wife, but he feels like a brother because he's almost my age, is Amanda, and she said Pussy Riot, which is the band from Russia that was having so many problems with Putin.
Oh, yeah.
So then that became a whole...
Yeah, they got arrested, right? Like,
yeah. So
I
this
saw that.
was done like, and it's ripped on purpose, and so that ended up becoming something that my friend Maria Frisky came in, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're doing something on Pussy Riot. So then all of a sudden we started like, you know, doing this campaign for Pussy Riot, and then it was like me and Maria doing paintings of Pussy Riot. So I guess things for me work organically. Like some of it's planned and some of it just happens.
Gotcha.
So it's just, and I love collaboration. I mean, I love being on my own and having my own studio, but inspiration for me comes from other people's ideas as well. It's working and feeding off of each other.
That makes sense. Now, I mean, I feel like to be somebody like you know, that is capable of doing multiple genres and multiple, you know, undertaking multiple mediums, you know, I mean, that says something about you personally too, I would think, you know, like that has to mean like, I mean, do you enjoy, like, in your personal life, do you just enjoy multiple things and, like, all different types of people? Or,
I do.
Yeah.
I totally do. I love all different kinds of people. That's part of, like, during, of course, I'm a teacher, so I had to, like, actually prep, so.
Sorry, I'm going off your,
no, it's, like, just
your
funny.
itinerary there, but.
No, it's fine. But, I mean, working with, like, because I work at Buckman Heights in Greece, and so I work with little kids, 3rd through 5th grade, and then I work at St. John Fisher with, you know, anywhere from freshmen to seniors in their communication journalism department and their fine arts. So, and then I worked at RIT with their grad capstone program this past year, so I'm kind of all over the place, but I do love working with different age groups. They inspire you all the time. I mean, and I guess most of my work, if it really comes down to it, all comes down to relationships. You know, what's the relationship you? I mean, that pair of boots. What's that relationship I have with that pair of boots? It was given to me by an ex-love that, for whatever reason, I picked them up one day and just thought they were really interesting to paint again. And
I love
for
that
it.
painting. I saw that when I saw that on your website. I was like, I love that.
And I love to work over stuff. So unfortunately, for some people,
for texture and
yeah, because I love this. I love texture. So it's like people will be like, "Where's that one painting?" And I'm like, "It's gone."
Really?
I don't find art precious that way. So it's
That's
you know,
interesting.
it just keeps on going.
You know, that's funny that some people are like that. I used to have like a real attachment to my art. Like I would have a hard time letting it go, like to people, and everybody would be like, you know, when I was in school, like I gave it to my family. I gave it to people that meant something because I knew like
That
they'd
I can do
keep
that.
it. Yeah. But like when you go to sell art, like you think it's because you're creating art that is like more for a product's sake, or than
I'm
it is
certainly
personal?
not an artist for product's sake. I mean, this is me, and it says naughty with like, you know, blood coming through it. So I was in marketing for years. So I left RIT, and I worked as an illustrator for the paper, and then I worked in marketing, and I was just so burnt out and I went back to school for art education that I started doing the fine art again. So Studio 215 Rock for me is my outlet. That is my inspirational and creative outlet. So if people like it, great. If they don't, that's
Whatever,
fine.
yeah.
Move along. I mean, the last show I did, I would say, is pretty commercial. I mean, if you look at you could pick up one of these, like owls or whatever. And so
An
these
owlet?
yes. So these are like silver point. So, I mean, it's funny because some people are like, can Heather draw? It's like, yeah, I can draw. Can draw pretty well. But I think, you know, for most of the shows that I put on, my purpose isn't to sell. My purpose is to express myself with the person I'm collaborating with. This person was Lisa Miller, and it was all about past and present lives. She's part American Indian. We didn't slam people's face into what our concept was. You either got it or you didn't, or you came away with your own message. And I really kind of feel like that consumer viewer aspect is really important. I don't want to do like a theme show where everything has to be. I mean, there's a theme, there's a concept behind my shows, but I'm not going to write out a statement about what it's about.
Yeah.
I want people to come in and I want them to
Just
see the
enjoy what you created.
subtleties themselves. And if they want to ask a question, that's great. But I'm not going to
Yeah.
explain it for them. So
I like mission statements, and I think, like, you know, to be an artist, there's probably different types of people, obviously, you know, but like some people in general in life, you know, some people need structure and you need to create a series of things. But I kind of always felt like you know, like with what you're saying, you know, because like when I was in school, you know, we had to come up with series, you know, and I was like, well, why can't I just create, and, you know, why can't it just be what I feel in my heart, like what I want to make?
Right.
And even though like there was a liberty to an extent, you know, like when you teach, when you educate, do you educate your students differently than you frame yourself and your work?
well, I mean, the little kids, yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to.
But
What's the age range that you teach?
well, let's see, third grade through, it's anywhere between 6 and 10. But I think the main thing, though, that I mean, I can't stand googly eyes or glitter or, I mean, I want them to create their own artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at something, I give them constructive criticism. They know how to be constructive with other kids. They know how to criticize kids well in a, you know, productive way, a positive way. But in the end, it's their art.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, and I'm certainly not against this series, because I would say every installation I do takes me almost a year.
Yeah.
And it is a series. But then it's done. And I want to move on to something else.
Gotcha.
So, you know, but it takes a long time to put together a show, so.
What impact does educating others have on your own body of art?
It's really funny because it can be super, it's always positive in the sense that they influence me so much. I love my jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the kids. I love my job. I'm so blessed to have it. It's incredible. But some of my little ones and some of my older ones, they, you know, they go through hard times. So, I mean, sometimes that can impact my artwork if I see a kid struggling, or it can become very political, because, I mean, when I work with the students at Fisher, I mean, we talk about, I do concept digital art with them. So sometimes it'll really like bring up very sad things for them, and then sometimes that will come out in my own work.
Your own work.
You know, it just depends. Like sometimes I'm like, nope, we're gonna be happy, and then sometimes it just doesn't go that way, and it just becomes kind of political or emotional, just based on the world that we all live in. You know, it's a representation of just what I'm feeling at that point in time with those that I love.
So would you say your art's like very, it's inspired by, you know, what's happening around you?
It's
all
all
the
about
time.
relationships
Yeah.
again. You know, relationships with other people, relationships with what's going on in the world, relationships with my family, relationships. I mean, it comes down to, for me, that juxtaposition between people, the land, the environment, countries, everything. It all, you know, we're all connected.
Now, how long have you been teaching?
10 years.
10 years? How have you changed in that 10 years? Like, as an artist, do you feel that educating others has like has strengthened your ability, or do you?
I think I'm just getting older and leaving and this is nothing against marketing because I actually adored it. It was a lot of fun in my 20s, but getting away from marketing and a business point of view and being with children and being in an academic atmosphere is completely different. So, I mean, getting older, feeling more comfortable with myself, being able to take risks, kind of being out there and like, if you don't like it, again, like, you know, move along, like, you know, switch the channel. It just is very freeing.
Yeah.
So, and the kids, again, at grad, regular, 3rd through 5th grade, they all have an impact on me.
Sure, I believe it. And I mean, how big of an effect would you say like experience has on you? Probably everything, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you can't. I don't know how any artist can't. Well, I guess if you're just like completely technique and you're not concept at all, experience wouldn't mean anything, I guess. But I mean, if you have any kind of like concept-based work at all,
Right.
then experience is a huge part of it.
I mean, now since we're talking about experience, what experience do you hope like somebody attending your exhibit, one of your exhibits? Do you hope that they'll walk out of your exhibit having felt an experience themselves? Or?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I kind of like that. You know, I kind of like to be not all the time, but theatrical about my pieces or my installations. So I always want them to walk away at least wondering, like, what was that, or coming to their own conclusions on what it was. But I definitely I don't want them to walk in and go, oh, it's the same work that I saw in this place 2 months ago. I mean, I really love having it be a completely new experience every single time. So that's really important to me. And if it is political, I want them to ponder. I don't want them to necessarily have my viewpoint, but I want them to think. I mean, I really, truly believe that, you know, artists have a lot of power in intellectual thought.
Sure.
So, and social commentary. So that's really important to me.
Has there been any big challenges that you had to overcome, like as an artist, as a fine artist, or?
Have there been big challenges? Well, probably people will notice that one of my eyes doesn't move. So I don't have vision in my left eye anymore. So that was an incredible thing to have to overcome because I have no depth perception.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't get that.
yeah, it's fine. So, so that's been something I've had to overcome. But as far as like, I mean, being an independent artist is different than like being part of a collective. But for me, it's incredibly freeing. I mean, it lets me do what I want to do with the people that want to do things in a non-competitive way. Because I just don't imbibe in the competitiveness that sometimes happens with us artists in the community. I don't want anything to do with it. So it's like if you want to come in and collaborate and have a great time and just have fun and not like really worry about what other people are doing in that kind of sense, then I'm all for it.
I never understand like artistic competitive.
I don't understand
like
it
people
either.
competing artistically because
I don't get it.
you know, and honestly, that's like what I'm trying to accomplish with doing this.
I
too.
was hoping
you
that,
know,
yeah,
like
it's
I mean,
wonderful.
well, you know, I just think we're all trying to better ourselves, you know, and we're all
And our
trying.
community, hopefully.
Yeah, you know, like I mean, you can't keep pushing people down in life in general. You know,
Right.
like you don't. We should all be trying to encourage one another to be the best.
That we can
people
be
that we could
right
be,
now
yeah.
and forget about the past. It doesn't matter what the past is, you know. I just feel like you need to be supportive,
Oh, of course.
and you need to like just, you know, not put other people down for not being you.
I 100% agree. You know, and that's like something I recognized early on, gratefully, and you know, I'll carry that till my last day. You know. All right, one last question, and actually no, we kind of covered that question anyway. But I wanted to talk to you about what you're painting here, live for us. So,
So the inspiration. So, well, I didn't know what to do, so I brought a whole bunch of my sketchbooks because I sketch all the time. And my sketchbooks, if I just want to kind of do therapeutic kind of work, I mean, seriously, I make myself sketch for at least, I don't know,
like an hour.
If it's a 50-second doodle, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I make it's the side of my bed. So This is just, I wanted to be inspired by things that have inspired me in the past, and Picasso's a big inspiration for me, architecture's a big inspiration for me. Fractured space, just in general, I kind of find fun, and it inspires me in the sense that it's outside of the box. It was like, at the time when it was against realism and everybody was, shocked at Braque and Picasso, they're inspirations to me, they were risk takers.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, hopefully you can kind of see the female form because I'm inspired by the female form.
I see it.
So she's an odalisque. and
She's
there's
laying down.
She's laying down.
Yeah.
And there's some architectural elements holding her up and behind her and floating off of her. So,
Now, and you say you're inspired by Picasso. Now, is that, I know with Picasso's work, he had many, many affairs in his life.
He did.
And I know that he would do a lot of portraiture, and
Yeah.
like with, according to, like, so if he had if his,
he had many muses.
yeah, but if he would portray them all differently,
Yeah.
so like, if he was going through a hard time with one of his mistresses, he'd portray them kind of looking jagged, or like kind of how you have right now. And I was just wondering if you did that for a reason, like how it's like more triangular, the shapes.
Well, I mean, I honestly was just thinking of more like architectural kind of geometric fractured space. I mean, honestly, I'm inspired by so many people. I'm inspired by Alice Neal. I'm inspired by Gorilla Girls. I'm like one of those. I guess you could say my artwork is eclectic because I mean it's the same as my musical taste. I'll listen to classical. I'll listen to rap. I'll listen to jazz.
Everything,
I'll
yeah.
listen to if it's good, if it moves me.
Yeah.
And all it has to do is move me. If it doesn't move me, then that's fine. It might move somebody else.
Yeah.
It rock their world. But again, So I just felt like doing something. And again, I didn't know what I was going to do until I looked. And then I went, I'm just going to do the female form and kind of put a little Picasso and a little architectural element in there because everything else was so organic. I wanted it to have a contrast.
No, I like it. That's great. Fantastic. Now, okay, so Studio 215. It's at the
Studio 215 Rock. And it's on the 4th floor, which is very Dada.
of the Hungerford building.
Hungerford building next
Which
to
is
the
locally.
Rochester Art Club in Studio, actually Suite 433.
Now, would I be able to find you there at any given time? Like, could I just be like, hey, it's 5:09 p.m. and I'm gonna stop in, go see Heather
Well,
Irwin?
you certainly can, but it doesn't mean I'll be there. Like Tuesdays and Thursday nights, like I said, I teach at night.
You teach in studio?
No, I teach at
the college
level.
Okay,
So,
that's okay.
so I work full time in Greece. I work as a professor. I do marketing, and I have these shows. So basically,
You're Superwoman.
I'm Superwoman.
Basically.
The gallery is open. Like I might have a show. I think I'm going to have a show with a young artist in November because she's really psyched on an idea, and I don't know how much collaboration I'll do for her, but I'll lend her the space. And then I know I'm working on a show that's aiming towards April.
Great.
But again, I can't, because I do
No,
do so many
definitely.
things. I need to have time to work on it and create that series.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, fantastic. I look forward to it. Keep me posted on your exhibits and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, tell them the website one more time.
Studio 215 Rock.
Check it out. Check her out on Facebook as well. And are you on any other social media outlet things? No? Well, and wait, I did want to ask, do you give classes like outside of the college?
If anybody wants to take a class, I'm always up for that. Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, yes, check out Heather Irwin and around town. And if you're not in town, definitely check her out online. You will be blown away by the amount of art that's on there. I was. But thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
you.
I really appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
We're going to take a sponsor break. We're coming back with Jim Greco, and he's going to rock your world poetically. So, thanks, guys.
Because I believe to me, I believe to me. I try to change my mind because it's already made up. Never trade down, only know how to trade up. Walking tall, standing proud, no reason to frown. Because I believe to me, I believe to me. I may fall, but I'll never lose my ground. Because I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I was lost, but I'm found. I'm too
top.
will
We got the 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2.
Cause I'm not going
Testing, I hear it into the room ever so slightly.
Try to change my mind because it's already made
Get there.
up. Never trade
Alright, you
down,
want to boost
only
the
know
gain
how to
just a
trade
little
up.
bit, see if we can
Standing
get it
tall,
without the
standing proud, no
feedback.
reason to frown.
So that way we've got make sure. Alright, that sounds pretty good. I'm not hearing any feedback, so we should be able to go with that. Good.
Never trade down, only know how to trade up. Standing tall, standing proud, no reason to frown. Because I'm a loser me, I'm a loser me. I may fall, but I'll never lose my ground. Because I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I was lost, but then I found that I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I may fall, but I'll never lose my ground. Because I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I was lost, but then I found that I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I may fall, but I'll never lose my ground. Because I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. I was
Testing.
lost, but then I found that I'm too strong to ever be knocked down. Remember when you said I don't think so? I don't think so. I turn around and so I do.
So like, right? I've been trying to loosen up for you. All right, so it wouldn't be an afternoon cocktail without an afternoon cocktail. So I have to tell you guys, each week that we're doing this, I am featuring a drink of some sort. I usually mark my drinks by my lipstick prints, which are probably glaring very nicely in camera. But today I have a cherry kamikaze. So if you'd like to take this to your upcoming barbecue or whatever you have going on next, the next function, it's very easy to make. It's a cherry vodka. It's also triple sec. There's a little lime juice in it, and I believe, and cherry juice as well. So, cheers, you guys. Next up, we have we're closing out our show with Mr. Jim Greco, who you met earlier. I brought him on today to talk about a book that he just recently published. It's a book of all his personal poems. And Jim, come up here. Come talk to us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You changed shirts. Well, you took. You
No,
took
it got
away
very
your-
humid down here, so I took my shirt off. Is that okay?
No,
All
I
right.
mean, yeah, sure. You know.
Do I plug my book?
Yes, please do. So tell us about your book and what made you publish this.
Well, it's called Love and Other Anger, and it's basically a book of poetry about the human condition. I've been writing my whole life with being so wrapped up with music. It was basically always just collections and collections of my own, and I finally started to put it all together. And I got very tired of the corporate world, which you can do in the music business, and the literary world is very much the same way. So I decided to self-publish and use the internet, and it's going quite well.
Yeah.
It's going very, very well. So it's online at Amazon, called Love and Other Anger. I have to use the name James Greco because there's a skateboarder named Jim Greco, and he has about 10,000 pages in front of mine. So I called it James Greco. So
Fantastic.
there you go.
Now, this is something you've always aspired to do.
I've always written.
Always, okay.
Yeah.
Always written poetry.
Yeah.
But was that something like on a bucket list, like I am going to publish a poem one day, a poetry book? No?
No, it doesn't work that way. I think part of it is backing off from music so much as a focus, and through some physical injuries with my hands and my voice, and it just seemed that it worked. You know, I really started writing very prolifically, and I don't think you can do that without saying it's got to go someplace.
Yeah.
You know, it's what we talked about before. Like, you know, it has to get out there now. Like, music had to get out there, and the same thing with the painting. So, no, and I'm 80% done with the second book, so it's just working. You know?
Well, you stole the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you, so you see yourself continuing to publish more books?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hopefully, the second book will be out in a few months.
Okay, great. Now, is it just kind of, you know, are you keeping loose with it whenever inspiration comes to you, or are you giving yourself like a timeline for when you want to accomplish your next book?
I think when the flow of the book basically stops, and I think there's enough material, I'll stop and I'll publish that book. You know, so I think that basically, I consider it to be like 80% done.
Okay. How do you know when a poem's finished?
When it says what I want it to say clearly. I've gotten very good at being economical. And I found that for a while, you start to write a lot, And the style that really developed after a while was being very economical. I don't have to say it like this, I can say it like that. And that's how I work it. You know, I want it to be very clear, I don't want it to be repetitious. And I do very little editing. You know, the poems basically, they come out and they're pretty much where they should be.
That's good. Now, like, how you approach poetry, do you approach that different than writing lyrics for songs? Because you're a songwriter also.
Yeah, they are different. They are, for some reason, I think when we write songs, we tend to rhyme.
Yeah.
And I do none of that in my poetry at all. It's almost just free verse, free flow. And I do nothing that rhymes. And I think also with songs, you sort of have to say the same thing several times, just in a different way. And I don't approach that with my poetry at all.
I think the structure, I mean, well, with songs I know they say that you're not supposed to have like structure, but I mean, I think to some degree, like, for me, like, I mean, there's a verse, there's a bridge, you know, somewhere. No matter what order you put it in, there's some kind of structure still there. With poetry, you have a little bit more liberty to...
Oh, a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. You know, you have to take into consideration, obviously, your melody and everything else, and how is that working together. And I almost find I can find it now when I look at, you know, what I'm doing with my poetry. Because I can just flow on the poetry. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. And I found that what has happened, I've written a lot of songs where, you know, I really like these lyrics, and I just put it aside.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just... for some reason, it appears that the words are what's really happening with me. And the music I do more instrumentally, and I'm not attaching it to as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So maybe because I'm writing so much, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's just working the way it's working. It's not an intellectual process in terms of, I think I'll do less of this and more of that.
Well, I mean, you're such a creative person in general. I mean, that's the one thing that I really love about you. And since we've known each other, it's the one thing that's kind of drawn me to you. Like, I love that you are not afraid to take risks and afraid to try something new and to, like, you know, like, you're confident, but not in a bad way, you know. And I
appreciate that.
I feel that way about myself, you know, and I think that's why we get along too, you know. But it takes like a certain type of person to just, like you were saying earlier, you know. What did you say? You said about the types of people.
Just our wiring, you know.
Yeah.
We're just those kind of people, which we are.
Some people are just wired, you know, to do, and some people.
Yeah, it's about as natural for me as it can be. I mean, I really want to. That sounds very cliched, but I seem to have been there forever.
It's not forced for you, and
No,
I love that.
not at all.
That's cool. So, I mean, now talk about your paintings. Talk about some of your art too. I know we don't have any to really show, but
Sorry about that. I can bring some down at another point. in
another
time.
time. Why not? Yeah.
The paintings are very much the same thing like my poetry. I don't paint from photographs or anything else. I get an idea in my head. I try to get a basic reference down on the canvas, and then I work from there, and they come out the way they come out.
Sure.
You know, so occasionally I'll use a model, but only as a reference for some portraitures. But they're not even classic in that way.
Yeah.
You know, just basically it's a reference and it goes the way it goes. That's why I really like oil. Oil can just do so much. You can apply it so many different ways.
I paint in oil too.
You
Yeah.
know, and you know, oil is just like.
It doesn't dry so quick, so you could always.
Doesn't matter. You could go
build
over it. You can
texture,
take it
yeah.
off. You know, and
Yeah.
it lets your mind work, which is what I really like a lot. You know, so I'm really excited about the painting. I get in front of the canvas, so I can stay there all day long.
Yeah.
You know.
It's another extension. Do you feel like all these different pieces, like, I mean, doing poetry, doing music, doing art, like, do you feel like it's all a different extension to who you are as a person? Like, or do you differentiate them all? Like,
No. If you wanted to talk about art, I would talk about music the same way I talk about painting, the same way I would talk about poetry.
you feel equally as passionate?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. I wish I was like that.
Well, it's about creating. I think
Yeah.
is what and I think that's what fills your void if it could be expressed that way. Not that you necessarily do it for that reason,
Right.
but it's, you know, I would talk to any young artist, young writer, young musician, very much the same way, you know?
I find that, like, for me, on a personal level, like, music was always the one thing. Like I love art. That's what I thought I'd be Heather Irwin. Like I thought my life would be, you know, I'd teach intermediate painting and drawing, and I'd be a teacher, you know, and you know, music's always been the one thing that I get up in the morning, and that's what I wanted to do, you know, and that's what I wanted to end my night. It's all I could think about. It was like almost an obsession. You don't feel more strongly about one than you do about the other at all?
Originally I did, and predominantly it was music for most of my career. But you know, there's always these things just floating in the back of your head, and they're always there, and you know, and when you write, maybe initially with lyrics, but then you start writing poetry or whatever you're doing, it's, for some reason, they're there. Now, maybe because of the time that you spend, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and practice for 6 hours. Maybe that's the reason that I didn't paint or I didn't write as much, but it was always there.
Yeah.
You know, it was just always there, and it just seemed that it just started to evolve to that place. And but maybe because initially, you know, I just chose to do the music.
Sure.
And not because I was more passionate about creating music as opposed to something else. I just think it's just one of those things that happened. Eventually, with maturity and everything else, everything started to come up, you know, just started to fall in place.
Together, yeah. Well, I mean, enough of me jibber-jabbing with you. Let's actually hear some of these poems. So Jim is going to read from his book quite a few
Love and Other
poems.
Anger.
Yep. Love and Other Anger, and you can find this on Amazon, right?
Yeah, on Amazon, James Greco.
Fantastic.
That's one of my...
Your drawings, right?
my drawings, yeah.
I remember you saying that. I love
Yeah.
that. So exciting. All right, well, read, give us some readings, and I'll come back and I'll ask you some more questions.
Okay, I'll give you, some very quickly.
All right.
All about. Someone asked me what it's all about. I answered love, faith, and truth. Maybe not in that order. Not that I always believe in all three. Love can be blind as faith can be. But truth never is. It only fails when denied. I love, I have faith in truth. Oh, thank you. Appropriateness. The hunter chooses not to be called predator. The word is too harsh. And there is an explanation for his actions. It is the same for people who lie. Thinking there is an explanation for the lie, they find it inappropriate to be called liar. They wish only to deal in fine lines. I wish only to deal on how I've been made to feel after being lied to by someone with an explanation. Compliance. I read of a battle where 1 million soldiers died on a killing ground that knew only winter. And they sacrificed for a greater cause, as soldiers always do, regardless if the cause was advanced or not. I'll never understand such compliance. They have the guns, why not turn around, shoot the generals? Consequence. Let's go out and philosophize and pretend we have something to say. We shall be great thinkers, tell ourselves we are worthy, and our thoughts matter. We shall drink and rejoice at the pretense. We speak freely and stand tall, because no one admits to the fraud. Words mean nothing when they have no consequence. This poem was called Considering Anne Frank. There comes a time when life becomes a question of survival. We then need to ask, what is the right thing to do? Do we forget ourselves to protect ourselves, considering only survival? Or do we place importance on the quality of our life, not merely on its existence? We should be willing to die for what is right and hide the persecuted in the attic. This is called demands. We should expect only honesty and never demand perfection. But maybe expecting honesty is as much a burden as demanding perfection for those who lack the courage for either. This is called doubt. An entire life can become undone by the smallest of what was thought to be the most innocent of actions. It meant nothing, a small show of affection to a friend closer than most. What it meant, regardless of explanation, is how it made you feel. And once there is that feeling, the whole world changes. There is an honesty that is lost and a truth that must be hidden. For now what exists is doubt. And if all of this occurs from an innocent kiss, imagine what a lie would do. This is called forever. I have tried too much and I am tired, but no measure is given and no reprieve offered. I am sentenced to the expectation of forever trying. This is called God's love. With a fraying thread, you dangle your faith in front of us, a constant reminder of your connection to the Almighty. The true connection to your God would be to walk in His image and not simply confirm your belief in His existence. You pray for His understanding, you deny yours to others. You ask for forgiveness and patience and never offer the same. God helps those who help themselves, but you wait for divine intervention to save us. I don't want God's love, I want yours. Hobby. I sit alone with candles lit, where I think too much, drink too much, and consider the pills on the counter. I need a hobby. New World Order. A child who does not care for another child becomes the father of the child who does not care for the world, who then becomes the father of the child once again forever. The end of our humanity can be heard in the sound of children laughing at the suffering of others. This is called Nonetheless. We have all felt pain, though some are more fortunate than others. They have felt the pain of heartache, but at least were given the chance, if only for a while, to know the warmth of another person's caring. And even when lost, it's still something to cherish once having. Others have felt the deeper pain of death that cuts across logic and understanding, forever breaking one's faith. It is at this time that God, for all His infinite wisdom, makes no sense. I will still thank Him and cherish once having them, if only for a while. But He will have to ask me to forgive Him nonetheless. It's so simple. If you feel there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you will do. It's sad because the simple effort, the attempt, the thoughtfulness of the endeavor is more than enough to make the difference. This is called The Battle Rages. If I had to choose, I would stand and fight with no retreat until finding myself standing alone. The battle no longer raging on the field, but in my heart where I have been cut by the swords of desertion. I fought for us all, now I am left to fight for myself. Fortunately, that is a cause worth fighting for. The difference. Thank you for the peace, no matter how brief, I held it close and always will. But I hold a feeling of what I thought it was, not what I realized it to be. So why not continue as is? The answer is simple. I will not, I cannot live a lie, even a beautiful lie. And therein lies the difference. The other side of the world. No one does anything thinking it will turn out other than expected, assuming intentions are true. In good faith, I walked north. When I turned and looked back, you were walking south. You said not to worry. We would meet up halfway around on the other side of the world and all would be well. I didn't realize your intention was we would take this walk together eventually. The suicidal heart. When is enough enough? When do we scream, I can't do this anymore? Is it at the point of the last confrontation? The insult you thought you'd never hear, the hurt you thought you'd never feel, or when you realize it will never stop? Eventually the heart's extended hand can no longer be reached, and the heart will slip away, no longer to be saved. Becoming suicidal, it seeks its peace. The hand is withdrawn by the heart's own design. This I believe. With wounds self-inflicted, through my willingness to let you hurt me, I stand bleeding. But no, I shall remain here, so you may cut deeper and as often as you need. Because I believe in your better angels, who will one day subdue the demons in your heart, and I will hurt no more. We take our stand. It is power we need to fear, even the power that protects us. It is such a tentative situation. One moment to the next, our freedom becomes our oppression. Our security lost to our fear, thinking that power protected it. Fear will do that, as it always has, unless we love more than we fear. Then power is nothing, for it will never see us bend or submit, even as we die in our struggle against it. What would he do? The self-righteous are unrelenting. They fight God's war without compromise, and they will see us burn in hell. Our punishment, not for our disbelief in God's word, but our disbelief in them. If God wanted to reach me, he would find better messengers. I will not listen to those who turn away the poor and the afflicted. What would Jesus do is a question they need to answer, not ask of others. Within. Love should always show itself and not hide for moments of despair and resignation. For those are the times that matter most. It is easy to love when the world is right and the truth needs no reassurance. It is then that even a fool can make the world believe there exists within a heart that loves.
I love that last one.
I get a little emotional, my apologies, but I'm really into this stuff. So.
You know, I was going to ask you, like, how does it feel to recite your poetry as opposed to reciting a song on stage? Is it a different feeling for you, or is it similar? I mean, I feel like...
When you're up there with a really good band and you're cooking, you know, and it's happening, you know, and you're just lost in it. And then when I read this, it's very much the same thing. Or, I look at a painting that it just works for me. It's you know, I think that sometimes, though, you know, there's a certain level of emotionality in this that can get to you. You know, there's almost a joy on stage. Not almost, there is a joy on stage. You know, when the band is just happening. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, everything I write is
Close to your heart.
yeah, it's autobiographical, basically. I write from the human condition, but, you know, as far as how I see it. And I think it's things other people can relate to as well. Yeah, it's pretty emotional. I get you know, but I would hate to think that it didn't do that to me when I read it.
Yeah.
You know, so when I read it, rather. So, yeah, it's...
Do you ever hold yourself back, like, from reciting certain things or singing certain things when, you know, like, I know, like, I have some songs that if it's at the right time, Amanda might start crying, so, like, I try not to recite it or...
No, I understand that, but the answer is no. That's the point. It's the point of doing it.
Yeah.
It's the point of writing it, painting it, singing it, playing it.
Yeah, but I look really ugly when I cry.
Hey, you know, but you might touch someone. You might touch someone.
Maybe, you never know.
I think that's true. I think that's true.
My sister would always say that. She's like, you got the ugliest cry face. I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to look beautiful when I cry, but it's funny. Well, I mean, okay, so my other question that I thought of was, you've hosted open mics for years.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about doing a poetry open mic, since this hits so close to you?
Well, I have. Unfortunately, the open mic I just did I tapped into somebody else who tapped into me, and I said, sure, I'll do it. And you know, as a professional musician, I was just like, sure, why not? And I opened it up to just like, come on down, whatever you do, you do. And there was no judgment. You know, it's just like, let people have these things in their lives. Somebody just loves to play it. Come on down. Whether you're good, whether you're bad, I really don't care.
Right.
Just come on down. And basically what you're doing is that you're opening that up for people just to, like, have something in their life and encourage it. And, you know, they're not professional or anything else. Some of them are. And it's just a very nice, encompassing kind of thing, you know, and an encouraging kind of thing. As far as the poetry goes, it was part of the thing that Heather was talking about before. For some reason, I think as you get more in... And we know we've seen this in the music business. But I think there's a tremendous kind of ego that lives within people who paint, draw, whatever, people who write. And I need to keep myself separate from that. You know, the music thing is a little bit different, I believe.
You feel like if you think... Explain what you mean by this. So are you saying that you feel like you have an ego?
This is incredibly personal to me. Mm-hmm. When I'm on stage, it's incredibly personal to me because it's what I do. Okay?
Do you feel like this humbles you?
No, I don't want to deal with pretense with this. I think is what it is. And I think that, you know, when someone comes up and says, hey, what do you think of this? I mean, well, what do you think of it? You know, and I write like this, and I don't write the way most people think about poetry. And I'd rather just keep myself separate from that.
Yeah.
You know, because what also happens is you get judged that way too. I've been told this isn't really poetry, and I don't want to deal with that. You know, and musically it's a whole different place because, you know, I'm most heavily studied. So if you want to talk to me about any kind of theory or anything else and tell me my music's lousy or whatever, I really don't care because I'm in studies. Sure, I choose to do this. But there's this kind of thing that goes on, I think, with this kind of expression. And it's just how I feel. I just wanted to keep it detached from the pretense, from the ego, from the judgment, and the competition that we talked about earlier. You know, it's like, you know, hey, you want to think you're a great poet? Great, I really don't care. I mean, music, like I say, is a little bit different. We can sit down and play scales, we can talk about theory, et cetera, you know, and you can keep people in line in a sense that way. And say, look, you choose what you choose. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and play.
Right.
But this kind of thing, I don't want subject to any of that. I don't. And the same thing with my paintings. I paint what I paint. I read these things, and you know, you saw it, you know, and I'm not explaining this very well. It's a very emotional place. I do it for me, you know, but I do want to get it out there. I think it relates to other people. I think everybody have gone through things like this.
Yeah.
And that's what it's worth. And somebody wants to tell me, well, you know, what are you going to tell me? What are you going to tell me about this?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, I can talk to you about, you know, your technique with your guitar, how you're holding it, this and that, blah, 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 your meter, et cetera, et cetera. But the expression here is like, here it is. All right? Don't dissect it, because I'm not going to sit there and talk to you about it.
I think when you dissect it, you take the art out of everything. You know, art's supposed to be.
You take the real emotion. You take the real emotion out of it. And,
but that emotion is what prompts. You know, and I thought about this earlier, like when we were talking with Robert. You know, like how you said when we were talking about like being on stage versus, you know, doing it for ourselves. You know, when you're still doing something for yourself, you kind of leave that open. I think for, you know, when I think about music for me, you know, and what differentiates me from a lot of, you know, like from anybody else who's a musician or a songwriter, you know, like what makes me different is and what makes us similar is that I put, that's my life, you know, and it's, you know, you take it or you leave it. Maybe you might think my songs are too quirky or they're whatever, you know, but that's how I felt, you know, and I know every time I sing that, that's how I still feel.
Yeah.
You know, but that is what translates to the masses, I think. You know, if you're really putting your heart into something and you are putting you into something, that's what makes your art unique, and that's what makes your art stand out from everybody else's, and that's what makes you a great performer, you a great poet, you a great artist, you know? Like, I mean, do you agree? Or?
Well, nobody can do you better than you.
Yeah. Well,
No, that's the way it works.
Sure, yeah.
You know, I just...
kind of there's a genuinity to it, though, too. You know, like...
I think part of it, I really don't care. But, you know, I was talking with someone once, and he mentioned a poet, and I said, I really don't... Okay, you want to have a conversation? I really don't like the poet. And he says, well, he was the poet laureate of the United States. I said, what, was it his turn? I mean, that's all I think about that. You know, it means nothing to me. If people don't relate to this, they don't relate to it. But the point is, it's expressed the way it should be expressed.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it any other way. I can't do it any other way. And people take it for however they take it. I mean, you get to a point where you almost can't intellectualize it anymore. You can, like, let's talk about, you know, let's talk shop. And I'm actually at the point where I can't talk about shop because I don't want to talk about shop. I just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, I don't want to sit down and talk about almost anything. I just do it. I mean, if I look at somebody's paintings, then I'm going to look at the paintings, and that's the communication. You know, and I think that's the way it should be. If I read somebody's books, that's the communication. If I listen to you sing and play, that's the communication.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come up to you and ask you, like, what kind of amp do you use? What kind of microphone do you use? Do you do this? What kind of paints do you use? What kind of brush do you use? You know,
it's not important.
Have you ever read this guy? Have you ever think? And you know, no, I don't read anybody. I don't look at anybody. That's not true. You know, I mean, I like Charles Bukowski, okay? I mean, you know, but I don't write like Charles Bukowski, but I like Charles Bukowski. I mean, I see a painting and it inspires me. But I'm not going to sit there and, you know, and make me this composite of, you know, the general conversations that when someone talks about art, they talk about this and this and this and this and this, and talk about music, they talk about this and this and this and this and this. They talk about, you know, whatever it is, and it's not. It's this, and it's what she painted, and it's what you play, and it's what I wrote, and that's the communication. And to go anywhere else with it. I mean, I'm actually at this point in time, I'm just blown out even talking about it, where I don't want, I mean, I'll inspire you, yeah, do it. Believe in yourself and do it. You know, if you need any help, come on and I'll talk to you or whatever. Emotionally, I know it's really hard, and I'll talk to a younger person and be very enthusiastic. But talking shop just doesn't work. I mean, otherwise, if you want to talk shop, then we can consider ourselves to be craftsmen. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But that there's that place there, and there's this place here. Okay, so I grant the craftsman and everything, and it should be. And I understand that. And certainly when I played, I was a craftsman a lot of times so I could make a living.
Yeah.
But I separate the craft from what I really want to do. And when I'm talking about what I really want to do, then I don't talk shop. You know, and so this to me is like, does the talking. You know, as that performance does the talking, or that painting does the talking.
Right.
And that's really what you need at that level, at that point. So it gets hard in a sense to talk about it, because, you know, it's sort of when a bunch of guys sit around and talk about gear, you know.
Yeah.
And it just, I'll sit there, you know, I'll just sit there. This is what I do. I don't have to talk about what guitar I use and what amp I use, or.
I think that's just like, I mean, for some people that's their
that's okay.
passion too, yeah.
And that's okay. Don't get me wrong. That's
not what you're
That's
about.
okay. I'm completely not there. I mean, if someone like myself talked to me, you know, we're not going to sit there and do that kind of thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's almost like you talk to another artist. You're talking to another person.
Yeah.
And not so much you're talking about art. You know, I mean, you can relate personal stories and things like that. But you know, if I want to talk to somebody about shop, I'll go to somebody else and say, "Can you teach me your perspective?" And that's why I'll go to that person. Show me what you do, and that's what I'll pick up from that person. But we're not going to sit there and do this thing that everybody does. They just generalize everything. They put it all together, and I don't do that. It's, you know, but I'll talk to you about what you do, and I'll talk to Heather about what she does. You know?
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to know. Okay? But we're not going to sit here and like, aren't we great?
Yeah.
We're artists, you know?
I think true artists,
you know, and I just,
say that, but.
And maybe I'm doing a bad job of describing that, like I said, but I've gotten to the point where it's hard to sit down, you know, like, and let's intellectualize all of this.
Yeah.
You know? It is a question that we are where we are. And, you know, if I had to give a lecture, I'm sure I could give a lecture. Because, you know, we can't do that with our experience and our knowledge. You know, so within that context, it might be different. But otherwise, you're just there. You're just there.
Well, Jim Greco, I think you're the coolest. I always have. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're the coolest. Okay, so Amazon.com. Get this.
James Greco.
James Greco.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not put my contact information in the book.
Well, we
So
could find you on Facebook.
You can find me on Facebook, and there will be
The Book of
a
Faces.
page just for my art and my poetry. The website's being done. And if you contact Amanda, I'm sure she can contact me.
Yeah, and also on our, I mean, we're going to wrap things up. This is the end of our show, our program, whatever you would like to call this. But I did want to say that any of the artists that you've seen today, Miss Heather Irwin, James Greco, and John, the DFC, Downtown Fitness Club, John Hutchins. I will have all their websites and Robert Blackburn. I'm sorry, thank you. Robert Blackburn of Black Dog Recording Studios will have all their information up on our group. It's facebook.com/afternoon. Actually, I'm sorry, facebook.com/groups/afternoon cocktail. And something like that. And that's it. So make sure you keep in touch with us. And thank you for a great show. We'll see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We will see you back at Afternoon Cocktail, episode 4, in a few weeks. Thanks.
Don't be shy, soon you'll see that life isn't always as scary as it seems. Close your eyes, imagine the world's in your hands above your shoulders. It's not as heavy as it seems. Imagine all the possibilities. It's okay to